It is the Corona Cero post show here at the MEO Rip Curl Pro, presented by Corona Cero. This is the beach scene here at Supertubos. The wind came up, ocean got torn up, but we got a lot done today. Men's opening round completed, women's opening round completed, tons of surfing going down, and we're here to give you all of the highlights from day one in the window. It's a goofy foot takeover of the set. Jesse Mendez, Strider Wazalewski, I'm Kaipo Guerrero, and I feel like we got a lot done today, Jesse.
We did have a lot done. I mean, the conditions were actually pretty tricky throughout half through the day, but the boys are ripping and the girls are ripping.
Yeah, and I love that rainstorm that came in, and then after the rainstorm, it got glassy, and we had a moment out there for the ladies to get some work done. Vahena getting after it, so, you know, some great waves pretty much 3/4 of the day, I'd say.
Yeah, I used the ultimate cliche, Strider, in that I said 4 seasons in a day in Portugal. That's what you get. And seems like we had a bunch of different seasons today.
Weather was a little bit cold for summertime.
It got balmy. It got balmy in
It got sunny. That's basically
the sun did come out, but it was cold.
I'm from the islands. It got balmy. It was all right. But we got a lot to talk about today in the Corona Cero post show. Last heat of the day for the women sets up the elimination round for both the men and the women. But let's start talking about the men. And a great heat that we saw in the men's opening round, heat number 6. Jesse Mendez, where it was a couple of goofy foots that took to the air in that heat.
I mean, I was actually glad that Jackson Bunch took to the air before Italo. He kind of put like some spark on that fire right there, because Italo probably saw. He actually saw that because I spoke to him after the heat, and he saw like from the back him doing a massive punt, and Italo was kind of forced into trying to find that ramp and couldn't find it, but all of a sudden he clicked into the gear and just started going into some massive punts as we see it right here.
This thing was just gigantic in my book. I mean, where he landed at the bottom, it was bouts, as they would say, it's skateboarding, but it was a knee breaker too. Like, that was a high-risk, heavy maneuver on a crazy section. I would have went up into the 9s on that score, and then this thing was so boned out, Jesse.
I know, I love this one. This was more lofty, not so much rotation as we see it from him, like just that quick rotation, but actually projecting the board down the line. That was beautiful surfing.
The momentum from stop number 2 continued on to stop number 3 for Italo Ferreira. Highest heat total of the day, up in the excellent range, 16.43. Jackson Bunch, the rookie, doing pretty good. And then our wild card, our local wild card, Kikas Federico Moraes, we'll see him in the men's elimination round. Good stuff there.
Yeah, that was by far like what we had the best. Obviously, mostly Jackson Bunch and Italo going bowl for bowl, and those big backside rotations was pretty fun to watch.
And I think Federico Moraes is kind of nursing an injury as well, so I think that he's, you know, his capabilities at the moment probably running at about 50%. Really, like to be honest. So I don't know how well he's going to be able to perform unless it's just perfect barrels.
Yeah, we'll see. We'll see what the future brings to us as we get into later on the surf line forecast for us. But right now, let's hear from the last heat winner of the day. Sawyer Lindblad is with AJ McCord.
Thanks, Kaipo. Sawyer, you had to wait around all day before you were the final heat of this day one. How did you prepare physically and mentally to get it done?
Yeah, I mean, I kind of just waited around all day. I surfed here early, and then I was like, wow, I won't surf till like 4:30 today, so I just like hung out, came down early and watched the waves. It changed like 5 times while I was here, so yeah, it was pretty hard, but glad I made it.
We were talking about last year how emotional of a result this was for you, because you'd already gotten a pair of 9s, had another one here. This year, you've leveled up. Pair of 5th place finishes coming into this 3rd stop. How have you done that?
Yeah, this year I just wanted to be a lot more consistent. I feel like last year I would do good in a contest, and then I'd get last in a contest. So yeah, that was just my goal coming into the year. I wanted to be consistent.
So far, so good. See you in the next one.
Thank you.
Yeah, Sawyer Lindblad looking great this year, sophomore year on the championship tour already with a couple of good results, showing some momentum, continuing here on some difficult conditions. I want to highlight, though, Jesse, a heat for the women's. It was women's heat number 4 of the opening round. Talk about rookies. Vahine Ferreira was looking sharp in that heat.
I think just smart decisions overall. Like, she was timing it well, choosing the nice waves that were kind of giving her a lot of opportunity, and just flawless surfing.
And she also talked about this in her post-heat interview where she went from Abu Dhabi straight to France, stayed here the entire month to get ready and get acclimated with her coaches to understand, and feel good and comfortable here in the colder water.
Yeah, let's take a look at this heat. Vahine Ferreira.
It actually started pretty well, where it was painted off for the heat, and right here we see it just breeze that kind of going a little bit too lateral down the line. Thought that wave was going to line up in front of her, but with that high tide, was actually pushing deeper and getting a little bit flatter. So good surfing for Vahine to apply pressure on the opponents.
Vahine,
Sharp backhand.
Just dropping that back knee a little bit, the style, the technique. I mean, she's here to stay, and she's looking strong coming across, and look at how glassy it was. Wow, beautiful surfing right there.
This was the moment right here. This was a 5.83. This happened with just 20 seconds left on the clock. You called it clutch, Jesse.
Yeah, that was clutch. I mean, what else can you say? Like, barely any time left. She needed a decent score, actually, at 4.8 something, and she got it done. Beautiful rail work for Isabella Nichols.
Hug from the coach, Jay Bottle Thompson, and Isabella Nichols on to the women's round of 16, along with Vahine Ferreira. We'll take a look at the numbers in this heat, where that clutch 5.83 couldn't have timed it any better for Isabella Nichols.
Tight heat. Look at those numbers all the way across. Whew. Just over a point. That's it.
Very competitive heat in this women's opening round, and both men and women having to adjust to the conditions today. Like we talked about before, it was just ever changing, and that adaptability, and it's something, Jesse, I felt like you couldn't pre-plan your heat. You had to like have a game plan maybe 30 seconds before you got into the water.
Yes, and actually adapt throughout the heat as well, because how many times we've seen it offshore today, cross-shore and onshore. There's plenty of times that happens. So
I was sitting on the bike next to Tyler Wright, and she said that she needs an update right before she paddles out. Yeah. Literally, because things change so much. It's, I think, just under a foot an hour, the tide moves. That's how much water's moving around. Yeah,
well, there's a lot of weather. There's a lot of water moving around. And what do we got in the future? Well, for that, we always bring up our friends over at Surfline, because it is a complicated forecast, Strider. It's going to be a jigsaw puzzle to figure out this event window. Good news is we got tons of swell coming. Iffy part is we have a lot of wind.
Tons of weather coming with it. That's a big purple blob moving straight at us from the west. So with that, the waves are going to come straight into us, but also the weather with it, which is going to make it pretty solid. Surf comes Monday. Unruly most of the week, though, with all that wind coming with it. We can go mobile, but we'll see what happens as we show up every day. These things change so fast. The forecast, I think, you can't really get right. Only 24 hours out, and then the rest of it is kind of a roll of the dice.
Yeah, I agree with you. And also, like, the swell is getting pretty big to kind of move everything over. Those beach breaks like a little bit smaller. Like, we've seen at 10 to 15 foot faces. That's a lot of water.
Yeah, and then maybe over in the corner, but even in the corner, that wind coming from the south is not good.
Yeah, so I feel like it's going to be a day-by-day thing, but the good news is there's a ton of swell. We've got options. We're only day number 1 of the event window, and we already got the opening round done for both the men and women, so that sets us up pretty good.
And there's a party tonight.
That's the best.
So there's options.
Yeah. Well, let's just get into the top 5s, because we got lots of stuff to discuss in the top 5 moments of today. First day of the window. We're going to start off with number 5. It's the veteran. It's the smiling Sally Fitzgibbons with her first heat win of the year.
I mean, it's great to see her back winning heats, because it's been a long time that we've seen her actually unleash and get comfortable on top of the board on the tour level. On the Challengers Series, she's been ripping so hard, but yeah, it's great to see her back. You can see the stoke, and she's ripping.
Yeah. Fans on the beach for Sally Fitz. Number 4, it's an air show, Strider.
Yeah, you know what? Griffin just felt so comfortable out there after he got his scores. You know, he was just looking like he was ready to party. And then you got Jack. I mean, come on, you guys. Jack was he was on fire.
Yeah, he is, and I just love how he's able to adapt, and he doesn't seem like the guy he needs to be on the spotlight. He just comes here and gets the job done. Either if it's 10 foot or 1 foot, he's doing his job, and it's amazing to watch. And all the surfers taking advantage of all that air wind that we had today.
Shines in gold. We're talking about the rankings leader, Katie Simmers. Jesse, looking sharp, looking on point, looking at another level.
Looking like she's at the pier at Oceanside, you know? Look at that beautiful backhand turn, combos it up, and then even falls here on that last one, but still damage was done and got a nice score of 5 point something. That would have been, for me, that would have been an excellent wave if she would have landed that turn.
Number 2, the Colo Bros. Both Griffin and Crosby Colapinto Strider win their heats. Griffin with the quote of the morning where he was meditating in the dunes and the dandelions before his heat paid off for him.
Yeah, it was really fun to listen to both him and Crosby's post-heat. He was talking about the cut, and he said, you know, it's a thought, but it's not a feeling. He's not going to let that set on him, which I loved. And Crosby right back into the groove, and you know, Griffin just pulling up, getting a nice little tube ride, comes out, split the peak, and then this little vicious backhand whip right there.
That was an 8-point ride.
Solid surfing, yeah. And then he went to town after that. So, you know, the confidence just built, and he just let go and really enjoyed his time out there with the air time.
Number 1, Jesse, is Bravo's town. Italo Ferreira put on a clinic.
Yeah, Bravo really showed why he's in number 1 right now, and I actually thought he should have got higher scores, like the type of commitment he had compared to all those air shows that we just saw it on the screen. Higher, more rotation, more dynamic.
Yeah,
more look where he lands right there.
I agree with you, Jesse. But you know what? The score or the result was right.
It was completely right.
But like, you know, I think scores are given, and he was owed.
He was old, but he has more, you know, we know he has much more to show to us, so he knows that. I spoke to him after, he's like, I have more, no worries.
He's fired up, which we like. We love that.
Poke the bear,
I'm fired up. Let's go.
I'm fired up as well. Well, let's check in tomorrow, 6:45 local time for a possible 7 o'clock start. We're going to try to get into those elimination rounds for both the men and the women. Tune in, worldsurfleague.com, and enjoy the end-of-day highlights. Aloha.
This copyrighted event broadcast is produced by the World Surf League for broadcast around the world and may not be retransmitted, reproduced, rebroadcast, or otherwise distributed or used in any form without the written consent of the World Surf League.